Hi, it's Colette. Welcome back to my channel if you're a oldie, and welcome if you're a new subscriber, of which we've got quite a lot in the last month, so thank you very much and I hope you'll stay. Today I'd like to give you my sort of opinion and what I believe about animal totems or totem animals, and just to let you know, I didn't I didn't consciously put on some animal print to do this video. It was just something I put on, but I'm having a bit of a laugh now I see it back. But that's just my life. So anyway, what is a totem animal and how do you know if you've got one? Well, the first thing I'd like to say is a kind of quote from Ted Andrews' Animal Speak book. It says, "A totem is any natural object, animal or being to whose phenomena and energy you feel closely associated with during your life." And that's Ted Andrews' Animal Speak. This is a brilliant book if you want to know anything about the animals. It's like my Bible. You can see it's very worn and it never leaves this house. So, if we look, if I look out, I live in the country, so we have a lot of animals and birds round about us, and you know, a lot of the times we can know how the weather's going to be by watching the birds and the cattle and stuff like that. But not everybody wants to live in the country or rurally, and not everybody can. So sometimes we're a wee bit cut off from nature at times, and the point is our totem animal is very much part of nature and should be viewed as just one of the things from nature that can give us an understanding of life and where we're going. In various societies they'll have totem animals. In some societies it's more about trees, it can be more about insects. But a totem animal is something that really, their essence vibrates with you. And I've got a domesticated wolf down here at the moment, Nelly, not just now, who very much resonates with being on video. So anyway, if you think of nature, and nature is giving us clues spiritually all the time, your totem animal is a way of nature helping us with that. So if you resonate very much with the energy of an animal, it's probably your totem animal. But if we look at ancient tribal societies, you know, they very much understood that animals could be looked at and learned from. It wasn't just a case of, oh, there's an animal that's around a lot. It was, you know, why is this animal here now? What is it trying to tell me? And the animal would be honoured for the message that it was trying to bring, and it would be studied. You know, what do I need to learn if I've got a mountain lion or a mouse or an armadillo or a porcupine? These would be thought of as in ways of how is Great Spirit giving us clues through the animal as things that would help us, and that's why I think animal totems are becoming so important now for those of us that have maybe wakened up more to spirituality, connected with nature. So ancient societies, and even sometimes more rural ones now, really learn from the animals and enjoy them being around. And it's important wherever you live that if an animal or a bird keeps showing up, you would think for no reason, but it keeps coming and coming and coming, then you actually do have a wee looky at what it's trying to tell you. So I have a few notes because you know me, I go way off at tangents, so I'm trying to keep this one kind of on course, which doesn't happen a lot with mine, but never mind. So we know what a totem animal is. So it's the essence, sometimes called the archetype of the animal. Now, in some tribal societies, we get 9 for life, others believe it's 5, others believe it's as many as you need. And there will be animals that really have been with you and stayed, and they are your main animals. But there's also visitors that will come, and this is these ones haven't to be sort of not listened to. You could know what your totem is, or 2 or 3 of them, and work with them a lot, and then all of a sudden something unusual, an unusual animal or whatever could come into your life, and you're not just meant to go, oh well, that's not my totem. In a way, it's a visiting totem, and it's there for where you are at this moment. You know, if I were, say, driving and a hawk flew in front of me, now I would say, oh, hawk, I need to see clearer, I need to be aware of everything that's going on around me, and I would thank Spirit for the blessing of that wee reminder to be more alert and to look a wee bit further into the distance like a hawk does. So it's these little visitors, they're not really little. Some of them can protect you from accidents. Other can make you think deeply about where you are in your life. You know, if you've got a butterfly, butterflies keep coming in your house and it's not really the time for butterflies or whatever, then butterflies probably trying to tell you something about the way that you're meant to go forward with different stages of life. Now, I will do a meanings video if that's what you want. Just put it in the comments below. I'm happy to do that. Obviously, you can't put everything in, but I would put ones in that I'm familiar with, etc. So anyway, so totem animals are there for us as a gift from the universe, from Great Spirit, to teach us, to alert us, and they can come for life and be something we really associate with, or they can be visitors that are there to give us a wee kind of dunt forward. I'm sorry, it's actually, the snow's going away here outside the cottage, and there's a little tree in front of me. I wish I could turn this camera, and it must have about 40 birds in it at the moment. The tree's moving, was actually the tree moving. So I'll have a wee think on that, and the animal print. But anyway, so people ask, well, do I have an animal totem? And normally you ask this when you're halfway there to realising, yes, you do, because there's some signs. The first one is in childhood. Childhood, we're far more open to all the things that are going on around us spiritually. We're little sponges that don't question too much, you know. We just accept if we see something here or if we see it in our subconscious. So in childhood, you might have been absolutely feel as though you've been surrounded by different animals or different birds. In fact, in my Memoirs of a Clairvoyant, I put how scary my first few connections with my main animal totem is, which is mountain lion or panther. And oh my goodness, it was terrifying. It was around me from about, well, age maybe 6. And in childhood, you might look back and think we just really loved seals, or you really loved elephants, or you know, like, it's like if you look at a child and they'll have all sorts of maybe cuddly toys, but then they go on to collect like the tortoise, or they love sloths, and that is an indication that they're very much in the subconscious connection with their totem animal. So in childhood, think back to your childhood and think, what was my main thing, my main animal that I connected with back then? Even if I didn't have one, you know, you could say, well, I had dogs, but I really loved rabbits, say. And then you can build up a connection with that, and you'll normally find that whatever has been there in your childhood will be with you for life. And sometimes it's just needing you to reawaken your mind to accept that. So childhood is a really good time to understand that there, you know, if you look back, where you were in Childers is probably where you want to look first. The second thing is look at where you are now and what you surround yourselves with, because subconsciously you will be surrounding yourself, look at even some of your friends that butterflies everywhere, or we tend to have quite a few birds of prey and hawk aspects around the house. I tend to wear a lot of animal print when I'm going out somewhere. Do you have a cupboard full of beautiful statues of elephants or deer or anything really? Look around your home and see what's there, and even watch when things come into your life very quickly. Years ago, I was going through a phase where I didn't like lizards, and I've been around lizards abroad, but I kept dreaming of lizards, and lizards is a very important totem to remind you to be aware of your own intuition and not other people's, just to be open to your own. And I kept getting cards with lizards on them, and it got to the stage where I was laughing, and I always say, right, okay, if there's something that I need to do with lizard, give me another lizard. I'm always making sort of not poking the universe as such, but almost saying, go on then, give me another clue. And I remember that very day, a friend brought me in a diamante brooch. It was the late 80s, early 90s. And when I opened up, it was a lizard, and it was huge. It was literally for your padded shoulder pad and down. And I remember thinking, okay, lizard it is. So look around yourself, and if you're just getting back into animal totems, etc., you might not have much, but you'll find the more you're open to it, that they will come. Your animal totem, it finds you, you don't find it, and that can be one that can be difficult for certain people's egos. I remember I've run a few workshops on totem animals, and everybody certainly wants to have an eagle or a lion, and we had a few porcupines, and we had a mouse who initially wasn't very happy with mouse, but if you want to look mouse up, you'll know it's a very, very good totem to have. But I always wanted the sense of, when I was going more to sweat lodges and stuff like that, I always had the feeling that I would love deer as a totem. But mountain lion it was, and much as I really wouldn't be I didn't really want the fierceness or the sort of the edginess of mountain lion, but the more I looked into it, the more I realised actually in a lot of situations in my life it does suit. So look around you, and if you've not much, make sure that you are open to the universe, and then see what comes, because it won't just come once, it'll come twice, 3 times, 6 times, 12 times, and then you'll know, and you can start building up. Okay, so look what you're surrounding yourselves with generally in life, and also then watch what comes in little visits. Okay, now number 3 of how to know you have a totem animal is that you may well have domestic animals that are a kind of substitute. A lot of people that have wolf totem do have dogs. A lot of people that have big cat totems tend to have cats. A lot of witches have familiars that are domesticated cats, some feral cats as well. It's really very much people that really, there's just one magpie out there just flown in the tree. Hello, magpie. Anyway, this is the first time I've sat directly at the window with the screen behind me, and this might not be a good idea because I'm getting much too distracted with what normally I just sit and look out. Not maybe the best idea to record. Anyway, so some people that are very much maybe would love a bird or keep a bird or be very interested in, falconry or whatever, may actually have totems of birds. They might be really, really into flying or would love to be a pilot. Some, like myself, who also have marine creatures, can be very good swimmers, and long for the sea and not be fearful of the sea or water. So think on that a wee bit, but definitely sometimes the animals you have around you, and that's maybe a wee bit easier to see now, because people do keep snakes, people do keep lizards, people keep different tropical fish, etc. But have a wee think on it. If you're obsessed with something, it's probably wanting to be your totem. Now, the other thing which can be quite funny is physical characteristics or personality traits. Physical characteristics can be quite funny, because you can have people that really love owls that look a little bit like owls. You can have people with massive fuzzy hair that can look quite like lions. There can be certain physical characteristics that I can normally look at a person and say, even if it's not so much the characteristics, but maybe even the way they carry themselves or the way that they do certain things. So physical characteristics can certainly give a clue as well. And as we say, personality traits, if you are very much a gentle, serene but alert person, you could have deer. If you love your bed and don't want to get up, then you could have sloth. And sometimes people are literally night owls, in that they like to be awake at night and do like creatures of the dark. So have a wee think about that as well. Physical characteristics or personality traits. I mean, I could go on and on forever, but I want to get back to my gazing. Dreams and meditation is number 5. Normally a totem animal will haunt you in dreams until you realise and sort of admit to it that, yeah, you're my totem. If you go on meditations, you will normally find that you've got a sense of them with you. For a shaman, I go on journeys with my mountain lion. We're very familiar with one another now, and I wouldn't think of doing a journey for myself or anyone else without my mountain lion leading the way. So I'm very, very connected. I've known her since I was small, and as I developed shamanically and magically, she became so much part of that. And I find it quite funny, because I love all animals, but I'm not really a cat person. I do love dogs. So I have a big cat totem, but I'm not necessarily a domesticated cat person. We have had a cat and she was beautiful and I liked her, but I just like my dogs as such. So there's an interesting one. So if you can get to know through dreams and maybe meditations or just watching what's going on, if you do get to know your totem animal, that will be such a good guide and a good opportunity to understand more, not just about the natural world, but about your own life and about where you are in your own life and what you need to know from that animal about where you are now. As I say, if you've got maybe 2 or 3 animals around you or birds and you recognise them as your totems, that's great, because you can kind of understand why they are and what parts of your personality or whatever are melded to them. But remember the visitors, because the animal guide visitors that come, they're there for very specific reasons in your life. And once you've learned from them, they will go, and they'll only come back again if it's a similar lesson or you haven't learned it in the first place. So although it is lovely and beautiful to connect to your main totem animals, they will walk with you, they will keep you safe, they will torment you till you do something, but the visitors are the ones that come in quite quickly, stay with us, and then once we've figured it out, they will leave. So I do think that it's important not to get locked into, these are my 5 or 9 animal totems, or this is my one. That's very important, but all the visiting animal essences that come in are really important too. And remember, when you are out in nature, take time to stop and look at what a bird's doing, look at the season and what's happening with the animals round about. I mean, we have 3 fields round us, and it can be looking quite nice, but if all the animals go to one part of the field and cluster together, we know that it's a heavy downpour coming, and it always does. So learn to tune into nature a wee bit more, and therefore you'll be more open to your animal totem, even if it's one from a foreign land, or even if it's a mystical one, because animal totems can be mystical too. They can be dragons, they can be unicorns, so don't rule them out either. So I hope you've understood and a wee bit more about totem animals in my own kind of conversational way of putting over. And what I'd like to say is, if you want more videos on more shamanic stuff, and also if you'd like another one on different totem animals, although to me you can get plenty of information from Ted Andrews' book and Googling things. But if you would want me to discuss it, in fact, I might actually do a live stream for it where we can all get involved in it. That's one I'll note. So I'll love you and leave you, but I'll leave you with one thought as to your totem animals. If you look at a Native American totem pole, man is always at the bottom. Have a wee think on that. And I hope you've enjoyed it, and let me know, give me a thumbs up, and comment, let me know what your totem animal is, or if you're just beginning to feel the build up, and any questions you've got. But I do think we will do a question and answer on this one on live stream. Many blessings now. Bye.